Waters.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
O'Kane.
Here.
Shaner. Here. Scott.
Here, could you stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Okay. Red Cross, Tammy Lee. We have a proclamation that reads, for 108 years, the American Red Cross of Sioux City has been in the forefront of helping prevent, prepare for, and respond to large and small disasters in our community. And whereas the American Red Cross provides help, hope, and comfort to the families that are displaced from home fires, devastating floods, and other disasters. And whereas in Sioux City, Red Cross volunteers generally give their time delivering shelter, food, and comfort during disasters, providing critical life-saving blood donations, supporting service members and veterans along with their families, and helping save lives with first aid. Whereas the American Red Cross partners with governmental, nonprofit, faith-based organizations, the business community, and others to uplift the community and effectively deliver their mission as a good steward of financial resources. Now, therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim March 25th as Red Cross Month in Sioux City, Iowa, and recognize our volunteers who give of themselves to assist their neighbors when they need a helping hand. I'd like to present this to you guys. Thank you for the help you gave us last year in the flood, and say a few words if you would.
Thank you. Well, we greatly appreciate the recognition for Red Cross Month. It certainly does take the work of volunteers, but it also takes the work of partners and our governmental agencies and organizations like the City of Sioux City. So it's been important. We saw it with the flood. We saw it most recently with the apartment fire. And we have a lot of gratitude for the work and the contribution that you've shown us. Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate all you do.
Thank you. Ike Rayford, please come up and tell us why you want to serve on the Civil Service Commission, or continue to serve, I should say.
Again.
That's right, continue to serve. So do I need to get name and address?
Just your name, buddy.
Okay, Ike Rayford. Well, I just want to continue serving. I believe I was serving someone's term, and that term expired and finished, and so I'm here to reapply and to start a term for myself. So
Good.
No doubt.
Good for you.
Appreciate your
Glad you
service.
applied.
thank you.
I have one question.
Uh-oh.
I have a lot of respect for the Civil Service Commission. My question would be, on November 18th, there was a split vote. 3 council members voted to suspend the civil service certified list making for 3 different departments in the city. My question for you is, how does that impact what you do? And with changes in the state legislature, do you feel like that's going to become more commonplace going forward?
Well, it probably will become more commonplace. You know, as a civil service commissioner, we definitely want to do the job that we're assigned to do, to look out for, you know, the departments and those things. But I will say that I believe the police department was the first one to come and ask for that suspension. And we just recently had a report from the Sioux City Police Department letting us know how testing, how employment and hiring is going. And we were actually pretty happy with that report to see that they are working hard to continue to make sure that things are fair and things are just and equitable. And so we believe that, you know, as long as we keep our eyes on it and we keep an eye out for it, we think it's going to be okay.
Awesome. Thank you for following up with them, too. The only other thing that I would want to say is the Civil Service Commission continues to be a very valuable partner. We've had concerns in the past about, hey, we want to shorten the length of time it gets to certify lists. you guys are always super responsive and willing to have special meetings to make sure that that happens, and we really appreciate that partnership.
Absolutely, thank you. We now that, and we can do virtual, that has helped us a lot. And we've got 5 commissioners that are phenomenal. They are very motivated and dedicated and committed to the work, so real good, along with the HR staff, so.
Thanks for your service. I appreciate it. We'll let you know.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. Consent agenda today is items 3 through 13. Consider them to pass unanimously unless a separate roll call vote's asked for a council member. If you want to speak on an item, please come up as I read it. Remember to always state your name for the record. If you want to speak on an item not on the agenda, please come up under citizen concerns. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
3 is reading of the February 26th and March 3rd City Council minutes. 4 is a resolution authorizing a notice of intent to request for release of funds and certification of environmental review in conjunction with the Community Block Grant Program. 5 are resolutions approving a contract to RP Constructors for the Manor Circle paving project. 6 is a resolution authorizing payment to C.W. Suter & Son for the Martin Luther King Junior Transportation Center boiler replacement project. I need to abstain, conflict of interest. 7 is an appointment to boards, commissions, and committees. A is a motion appointing Corey Smith to the Active Transportation Advisory Committee. B is a motion appointing Corey Erickson to the Building and Housing Code Board. 8 are actions relating to street closures. A is a resolution temporarily closing various streets in the downtown area on March 9th for students attending the Tolerance Kids performance at the Orpheum Theater. B is a resolution temporarily closing various streets in the downtown area on March 24th and 25th for students attending the Symphony Kids concerts at the Orpheum Theater. Items 9A and to D are resolution scheduling hearings for the issuance of general obligation capital loan notes. 10 are actions relating to personnel. A is a resolution adopting a position classification manual by updating job descriptions for the positions of system analysts and senior systems analysts. B is a resolution amending the position classification manual by adopting an updated job description for the positions of utility equipment operator and utility worker. C is a resolution amending the authorized personnel complement position classification manual and salary schedule by adding a utility maintenance worker and the utility worker in training. 11 are purchasing. A is a resolution awarding a purchase order to UBC Precast for a precast restroom building for the Park Field Services. B is a resolution canceling the purchase order issued to Geeling LLC for 2 buses for the transit system. 12 are applications for alcohol licenses. 13 are boards, commission, and committee minutes. Anyone to be heard on any of those items? Passes 5-0. 14 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specs for the annual sidewalk program project. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed.
Terry, you didn't have, it wasn't about the sidewalk though, right? No, okay. Just want to make sure.
Passes 5-0. 15 is an ordinance amending Chapter 5.20 Solid Waste of the Municipal Code to modify the fees for the solid waste collection. The first consideration approved February 24th, second consideration approved March 3rd.
I'll move it.
Second.
Passes 5-0. Railroad quiet zone update.
presentation she's
Yeah,
pulling
that's
up.
fine.
Up from the back, so I'm just.
Okay for now, thank you.
I can start talking to it. Brittany Anderson, Senior Civil Engineer. So the update today is on the 3 quiet zone corridors that we've been working on. Leeds Corridor, Riverside, and then the downtown Phase 2 corridor.
And just so everyone's aware too, or Mayor, and I know this came up during our budget conversation of just, or maybe it was a previous council meeting, we were just talking about the quiet zones and what was holding them up in different areas. And so we got a presentation or discussed it in our Public Works team meeting and just thought it would be beneficial to get everyone on the same page about the progress of these, what's holding them up or what takes different amounts of time and why some of them have been pushed back or taking time. So we just thought it would be beneficial to have them here to present.
So I'm just going to walk through the corridors individually, and then we can answer any questions you have. The Leeds corridor has 6 crossings, 3 of those being UP, 3 of those being BNSF. We've gone through a diagnostic with all the rail parties and the Federal Rail Administration in '23. And then we had our consultants at the SRF group put together an implementation plan of what improvements needed to be done. In April of '24, there was an accident on the Fun Place crossing, and that kind of halted all of the projects and improvements because the Federal Rail needs to look at the risk analysis of the whole corridor and reevaluate the risk there and what improvements need to be done to satisfy that. So right now, we're looking at 46th Street needing 4 quad gates and Fun Place needing gates on the BNSF line. Hopefully this year, we can finalize agreements with those rails to get those improvements in their work plan. And then once we have those set firm, we can issue the notice of intent to the Federal Rail Administration, and they have about a 2-year time period to review those. And once we have their approval and the improvements in place, then we can implement the quiet zone. So estimate on that is 4 years, and estimating remaining cost, $1.5 million. And then this is.
The 2-year review that's done, who does the 2-year review, or up to 2 years?
The Federal Rail Administration, we submit an application to them showing what improvements we've made
Okay.
and how it satisfies the risk scoring, that they can no longer blow their horns and it's safe.
And that's consistent with the other ones we've done in the past, correct?
Right, we have one in place now in downtown.
But since we had an accident, that kind of reset us.
Yep.
We have to go back, now they have to study it to find out, is that a fluke or is this something that could be common? Because if we're not blowing our horns, it's going to be too dangerous.
Correct.
Does 46th Street have 2 crossings now? I mean, I know it has 2 crossings. Are there guardrails on both of them? I know there was on one.
There is, with the skew and the alignment there, they're pushing for 4 quad gates to cover the entire intersection, and then it would interconnect both of them since they're so close. The same thing on Fun Place, since those crossings are so close, they want them interconnected so they go down covering both.
Okay.
So Riverside has the 4 crossings. We've talked about this one a couple of times. The only one that needs an action item on it is Bruner Avenue, and I'm gonna go to the map here. So Bruner butts up against these 2 properties. And the options we've discussed is closing the crossing entirely and then having the city acquire these 2 properties, or closing it and providing alternate access from West 19th to the north, and that would have to come through to the south property. Or we can signalize the crossing at Bruner and put up gates and lights. A number of years ago, we did sit down with the property owners, and at that time, they weren't interested in selling, and they threw out a pretty high number. So at that time, we just said we're going to put it on hold So action plan now would be to go back and talk to them again, see if their feeling has changed, and then kind of gauge the cost of what the best option would be to move forward. Again, once we have that option in place, we got to submit the notice of intent with that 2-year review period. So that one, we put 5 years remaining on it just to get any improvements made, closure done, or signals, and then that 2-year review period. And the downtown phase 2 is the one we're closest on. We have the 3 crossings already in the quiet zone. This is the 4 to the east, Iowa, Court, Virginia, and Jackson. Past 2 years, we've done improvements on those, adding medians. This summer, Iowa Street is going to get signalized, and our notice of intent's already been in with the Federal Rail for 2 years. It was February of '23, so we keep pushing them. We haven't got a direct answer on where we sit on the list, but hopeful that this year, once Iowa Street's finished, then we get that approval and can implement it. And then those 7 crossings would all be within the quiet zone. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate all the information. It's frustrating, to say the least, of how long this process takes. You would think it should be easy and fairly straightforward, but
Okay, Nick Wirtz, Lutheran Services in Iowa. Yep.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Happy to be here this evening. Wanted to provide the council and the members of the Sioux City community an update on how federal actions around refugee resettlement are having an impact here in the local community. For those of you, many of you know, LSI has a long and proud history here serving in the state of Iowa and here in the Sioux City community. Our first office opened here in the Sioux City community in 1939. We're actually celebrating 160 years this year of serving Iowa's most vulnerable populations. You all know this well, but just as a refresher, the U.S. Refugee Resettlement Program has been in place for 45 years in our country, 50 years here in the state of Iowa. Our Governor Robert Ray actually got it started here in the state of Iowa before it was a federal program, and it has been supported across 7 administrations from both political parties during that time. It is a legal immigration process that admits those granted refugee status who've been persecuted in their home country, who can't go home, and they can't stay where they're at. Many wait in refugee camps for decades to go through years of screening and vetting before being admitted to local communities through partnerships between the Department of State and local organizations such as LSI and our network of volunteers, employers, and community partners. I know I don't have to educate you, as this community is well versed in welcoming newcomers and has long been a place of welcome and refuge for those seeking new opportunity, and this community has provided it to them. In 2021, LSI worked with the Sioux City community to resume refugee resettlement services here in the Sioux City area and worked with local employers, schools, healthcare providers, and faith communities who submitted an application to the Department of State, which was approved at that time. Our first families arrived in early 2022, many being those who were evacuated from Afghanistan after the U.S. withdrawal, who had served U.S. forces abroad. Since that time, 3 years ago, LSI has helped welcome over 500 individuals here to the Siouxland community from places such as Syria, Afghanistan, Democratic Republic of Congo, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Congo, Somalia, Sudan, South Sudan, and Venezuela. We welcome each family to the community, find and secure housing, and cover housing expenses for them until the family is working and able to cover their own expenses. For 95% of the cases that we work with, they are economically self-sufficient within 8 months after arrival, meaning that they are employed and earning enough to no longer be eligible for public cash assistance. Since we've started, we've helped over 200 employable adults enter the workforce and fill critical jobs here in the Siouxland region. Now I'll move to just some of the impacts of the new administration. On January 20th, an executive order was signed that halted and effectively paused refugee resettlement across the United States. At that time, we had 104 individuals who had travel booked and ready to arrive here in Iowa, including the Sioux City area. That travel was canceled later that week. We have a family who arrived in July, whose older son was processing as a separate case. His travel was canceled, and they now no longer know when or if he will be able to join them here in Iowa. On January 24th, a stop work order was issued to all resettlement agencies across the country, effectively cutting off all federal funding, which is the primary source of funding that helps families get settled in their community to cover housing expenses. We had just arrived, 36 people here to the Siouxland community just weeks before, and now suddenly the federal government was saying you no longer have access to the resources that will help you get people settled in the Siouxland region. I want to say a thank you to the members of the Sioux City community and the citizens of the state of Iowa who have stood with us and worked to fulfill our commitment to serving those families and helping them get settled. And it is only through private support that we have been able to continue to operate for the last several months to help families get settled here in the local community. In mid-February, we learned that several other federally funded programs, including a workforce program we operate here in Sioux City, was not being reimbursed by the federal government. There have been no changes to the contract, no stop work orders on those contracts. However, the federal government has not reimbursed LSI and many other providers for those services, now totaling $1.5 million, going all the way back to December of 2024. The federal government is reimbursing some providers for these same services and has offered no explanation as to why Lutheran and Catholic affiliated organizations are not being reimbursed for services. Without federal reimbursement, we will be forced to refer families to the federal welfare program, and many will be at risk of becoming homeless. This does not have to be the outcome, and we are appealing to our federally elected officials who have already appropriated funds for these programs and have established contracts with LSI to provide these services. Because the federal government is not fulfilling its commitment to reimburse us for services, it is forcing LSI to pause our services and unfortunately let go several of our talented team members and staff who are with me this evening, and I'd like to have them stand and be recognized. These are the individuals who care deeply about this community, about it being a welcoming place, who work with your employers, your healthcare providers, and your schools to help newcomers get settled. 7 of our team members here in Sioux City were provided notices last week, notifying them that we will no longer be able to keep them employed at LSI if the federal government does not provide reimbursements. I'd like to take a moment to thank my team publicly in front of the council. I'm here this evening simply to make you aware of the potential impacts here in the community, not only on my team, but on the local community members that are here, a part of the Siouxland community. I want to ask the council and the community for its support in writing the administration and our federally elected officials, and ask them to restore the refugee resettlement program and to fulfill their commitment to provide the services that assist newcomers here in the Siouxland community to become productive members of this community. I'm also here to assure the council that in our 160th year of service to Iowans, that we will continue to serve Iowa's most vulnerable populations. Thankfully, LSI's early childhood and foster care programs have been unaffected at this time. In closing, I'd like to ask the council, whether collectively or individually, if you would be willing to stand with us and write a letter of support. I'm happy now to answer any questions the council may have.
Well, it's not so much a question for me, but just to follow procedure.
Yeah.
You know, we can't make a decision today because it's not on the agenda, it's not an action item, but I would be interested in seeing what kind of letter that might have been more successful than others, if we could get copies of those from you.
Yeah, would be happy to do that.
I would like to look that over
Okay.
as well.
Yep, would be happy to share a draft.
What's your time frame for, you've submitted letters already to the legislators, correct?
Yeah, I mean, we've submitted letters, we've made calls.
Okay.
You know, a few federal offices have submitted inquiries on our behalf, but unfortunately, the federal government is providing no explanation as to why services are not being reimbursed as usual.
Okay.
Do any of your monies that go to you come from the state of Iowa, or is it all federal?
The vast majority is federal. We have private support as well from individual donors and congregations. But probably about 75, 80% of what helps us initially get families settled here in the community are federal dollars that we then try to match with local support and volunteer time.
If you'll get those letters to Mr. Padmore, then he can get those to
Okay.
us as well.
Great.
And I do appreciate the work that you have all done. It's a monumental task, and you have a lot of successes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming and telling us about, I think, 8 months. That is just, I can't get that out of my head. I don't know of many organizations that can take somebody new and within 8 months get them entirely self. That's amazing, and the work that you all have done is incredibly amazing. We have to do more to protect our immigrant population in this community, but throughout the United States. Our city, the only growth that we have seen, the only thing that's maintaining us, in my opinion, is our immigrant population. And when I heard about that blow specifically to Lutheran Services, just knowing people that are involved with the programs, I was worried what that might look like. I've heard that there's one full-time staff person that's still been retained. Is that correct?
We will have, within our Immigrant and Refugee Community Services team, we'll have roughly three team members remaining. One who will continue to provide child care business development services, helping women start home-based businesses. And then one that will provide some limited employment services. But it's a significant shrinkage, as you can see from the team we have here today.
So obviously, you're not asking for volunteers, but if there are people that are willing to volunteer their time, who should they contact? How could they go about that?
Yeah, I will probably have you get in touch with Brenda Harms, who's our service manager. We're actually doing some apartment setups this week, so if people are feeling energetic and want to get out in the warm weather, we'd love to have some volunteers to help set up housing for some of the families who've just recently arrived. We have 30 employable adults that are currently looking for work that we're focused on over the next 8 weeks, getting them into jobs so that they can stand on their own when we are lacking the staff capacity to do that. So job opportunities are welcomed as well.
Well, I just want to say I really appreciate you being here today, not only being here yourself, but also bringing your team down. It is extraordinarily tragic what you're seeing happen on multiple different levels. I know a number of your team members pretty well, and I know the work that they do. I've been to your facility. I know the work that all of you are doing, and I really thank you for that. It is a service that does not go unnoticed. I hope you know that. I hope you feel, even though it doesn't seem it right now, how much value you have added to this community, to our local economy, and to the fabric of our community, really. I mean, the culture that is Sioux City, as Matthew said, I think we have such a beautifully diverse community. I mean, I'm a total foodie, so I always highlight the restaurants and the different opportunities that we have that we're lucky to have in this community. But unfortunately, there's a narrative going around right now that immigrants are oftentimes the scapegoat, or they're the ones that are doing these negative things, and sometimes that's the complete opposite of what's happening. You have immigrants that are, or refugees that are simply coming here wanting to work, wanting to flee a situation that they never would have wanted to find themselves in, nor would any of us ever want to find ourselves in. And we just pray that if that would ever happen to us as Americans, that there would be a different nation that would welcome us in the same way that you and your team have welcomed so many people into our community. And I think there's not enough happening, whether it's our local business community or otherwise, that are raising the red flags and saying we need to change course, especially when it comes to our immigrant policies, because in order to keep this ship afloat, like in order to keep our country moving forward, you're going to feel the squeeze the more and more you attack and scapegoat these populations and make them feel unwanted and unsafe, even though they are law-abiding citizens. They are just here to work and provide for their family and maybe give them an opportunity that they wouldn't have otherwise had back home. And until we realize that, unfortunately, there are some that until you feel it economically, you don't choose to act, and that's truly too bad. I am more than happy to reach out to the contacts that I have and voice my support for the reinstatement of this and talk about how vital this program is for our community and communities like us across not only Iowa but the country. And yeah, I echo what Dan said. You know, if you have a template or any talking points that you think are helpful, that would be great. But otherwise, I'm more than happy to make phone calls and emails and do anything I can. Hopefully, we're able to move forward in a meaningful place, but I worry that a lot of damage is done in the interim. And like you said, you know, we're doing everything we can to combat homelessness and all of these other problems, all these other systemic issues that you have going on in your community. Well, if you do one thing, you know, you never know the repercussions that it could have like this and how it could lead to more of what you don't want. And so it's truly unfortunate. So I've went on too long, but I just wanted to at least say I recognize and see all of you, and I thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you, and I appreciate the time on the agenda tonight, and we are here because although it's a federal program, we know that it's a program that this community has supported and it's local stakeholders who have made it what it is. So thank you for your support, and I'll follow up with a letter.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other citizen to be heard? Please come to the microphone and state your name, please. Good afternoon.
It's very humbling to follow this presentation by Lutheran Social Services, but I want to address another issue
Name,
that
please.
has to deal,
Can you give
my
your-
name is Terry Parrish McGaffin.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to address another issue that references the more vulnerable in our community. I have a letter to present that I've presented to the council just now on behalf of the volunteer commissioners that serve on the Sioux City Human Rights Commission, expressing our concern about the proposed crippling budget cuts that amount to 40% of the HRC's budget for the fiscal year ahead. These cuts will result in reduced staff and severely limit the HRC's ability to serve our community. Originally, this year, the HRC was asked to propose cuts of $18,000, and then at the budget meeting on February 24th, Council announced that HRC would need to come up with another $140,000 in additional budget cuts. Director Karen Mackey worked to revise the budget accordingly. Her final proposal reduces the staff to 1 full-time and 2 part-time employees. I watched the video of the meeting on February 24th, at budget meeting, and I have reviewed Sioux City Journal articles that report on that meeting, the City Council meeting of March 3rd, and the Human Rights Commission meeting also on March the 5th. I am reminded that the city's budget constraints are primarily the result of actions in recent years by the Iowa governor and the state legislature, which have left city and county governments scrambling for resources and being denied local control. I am well aware of the difficulties that you face as a council to support our community because of these actions at the state level. Councilwoman Shaner, you said to Director Mackey at the February 24th meeting, our rollback is gone. So where the money is coming from to fund our Human Rights Division, they are taking it away, the state of Iowa, from us, and we have to find ways to deal with that. You said that you would like to see more shoved back to the state in terms of cases and less of a burden on the city. some of the 44 cases opened in the fiscal year 2024 were sent to the Iowa Civil Rights Commission because of jurisdiction errors or conflicts of interest. The cases that were investigated here were addressed in a timely manner because our local Human Rights Commission prioritizes attending to cases in real time and avoiding backlogs that do not help either the complainant nor the respondent. The Iowa Civil Rights Commission receives well over 1,000 complaints a year. Sending more of our local cases to the ICRC will not effectively send the message to the state legislature, but instead will harm our citizens. The second point in our letter is that justice delayed is justice denied. This year, as a commissioner, I've come to understand that some of my fellow Sioux citizens have faced problems in employment or housing, and they need the available and independent mediation provided by our commission. I'm honored to live in a city that holds that as important. So I must ask, can these painful reductions be spread more equitably so that the Human Rights Commission can retain enough operating funds to provide some service to our community? In essence, my question is, isn't there another way? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry.
Excuse me, I also have extra copies of this letter from the Human Rights Council. If there are any members of the public that would like a copy today, I have them. Thank you.
Anyone else be heard?
Hello, my name is Robin Shiro. I live at 311 East Washington in Elk Point. First, I want to say how much I appreciate what you do because I used to be a previous county commissioner myself, so I understand all the aspects of your position is complicated and very not necessarily always appreciated as much as it should be. As I stated a month ago to you, I wanted to make you aware of some crimes that are occurring in our communities. I tried to turn these terrorists/criminals into the Sioux City manager a month ago, but I still have not heard back from the Sioux City Chief of Police. Even though I do not live in the Sioux City currently, some of these crimes occurred within Sioux City while I worked for years for Nutriflow and Tyson and also for various manufacturing firms such as CF Industries, etc. in your community. As I stated previously, I tried contacting the Sioux City Chief of Police over 3 times, but he never returned my message that I left him with his front office staff, even when one of them included turning in the murderers of 33-year-old Union County, South Dakota Sheriff Dan Limoges. Therefore, I'm turning in directly to each of you a document describing these crimes to you, with hopes that the Sioux City Chief of Police will respond to you as the mayor and the city council. These terrorists who breached Homeland Security have also committed human trafficking, racketeering, murder, kidnapping, torture, grand larceny, forgery, fraud, and many other crimes in our area, including Sioux City. Thank you for your time and consideration, but most of all, thank you for all that you do for the city of Sioux City, Iowa.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Teresa Becker, and I want to thank you all for the chance to express my concerns as a citizen, because I am a very concerned citizen about the recent unprecedented, detrimental, nearly 40% cut to the Human Rights Commission's budget, larger than any other service cut in the budget, done without much citizen input, and one that other cities with HRCs around the state that also experienced cuts in state funding still managed to avoid. No other cities around the state cut funding to their local commissions. But more importantly, I want to emphasize how this cut will negatively impact our community, and especially its most vulnerable members, for whom the HRC serves as their only city service directly giving voice to us, those with disabilities, those with work and housing discrimination issues, those discriminated against because of their diversity. We are all Iowans, and we need to look out for all of us. Firstly, the large budget cut will leave the commission unable to staff for and close the high number of cases that they have handled in the past that states show are proportionately presently higher than other commissions around the state with larger staffs. But even beyond providing help to folks who need to file cases, 2/3 of those who consult the HRC do not have complaints that specifically qualify for HRC case investigation, but the fair and neutral HRC staff is able to direct these people to other resources that can help them find specific agencies and people to assist them. So in effect, the HRC serves as an effective and vital clearinghouse of information for a wide variety of people seeking help in our city. And not only individuals are helped. The HRC is also a significant and important resource for landlords, businesses, and nonprofits, etc., as they benefit from having the commission as a source of educational and technical assistance, providing guidance in establishing practices useful in avoiding problems before they become problems. As well, having a strong HRC helps our city in terms of growth, being attractive to new businesses and industries that are considering moving to our area, as it shows that Sioux City is concerned with taking care of its citizens who will be their workforce. And having an effective HRC also helps bring those individual workers to our area, knowing that the city cares about protecting them. So in closing, I would like to reiterate that I want the council to reconsider the damaging cuts that they have made to the HRC's budget and find ways to restore this vital funding for the many fine people of our city. I don't have time to express in full my disappointment in how the budgeting process seemed to unfairly target the HRC compared to other agencies, but now is your chance to reverse these questionable decisions so that those who most need a voice and don't have any other in our city will continue to be served, and so that our city can stand proud for standing up for human rights, as they are our most basic rights.
Hello, my name is Suzanne Allen. Thank you for allowing me to speak freely today. I want to express my deep concern about the budget cuts for the Human Rights Commission and the significant impact it will have on our local community. The commission plays a vital role in ensuring equity, addressing discrimination, and advocating for the rights of all of our residents. Reducing its funding threatens essential services that protect and support our most vulnerable populations. I ask you to reconsider this decision and reallocate the full funding back to the Human Rights Commission. Investing in human rights is an investment in a stronger community. And I ask that you also please prioritize the crucial work and ensure that the commission can continue serving those who need it most. Thank you.
My name is Lauren Jones, and I just have a few concerns about the city. Trash, panhandling, and graffiti. Those three things will tear a city down. They give it a bad look. They're a detriment. And unfortunately, Sioux City has all three. There's a lot of trash everywhere in the city. I know there's been efforts to help to clean it up, but we need more help in that regard. And I don't know, maybe the juvenile kids could help us. They have in the past. They've helped with pocket parks, and they've been great. But the panhandling, that needs to stop. It's almost a danger at some of the intersections. And South Sioux doesn't seem to have any trouble with all three of these. I don't know why we do. And as far as graffiti, I just painted over graffiti on one of my rentals this morning, and the whole alley from 18th to 14th, Nebraska, Jackson, north-south alley, it's just full of graffiti from beginning to end. And this is like this all the time. And in the area by the warming shelter, that was an eyesore for I don't know how long, over a year. It still is. I went down Pierce Street on the way here, and I looked to my left, and there's graffiti all over the place. And it doesn't take long to paint over it. It took me 7 minutes to paint over my garage. So, you know, and what happened to the graffiti cams. We used to have graffiti cams that were on the pole that would trigger, motion triggered, and would have a police voice that would say, you know, something like you're in an area that's, this is like 6 or
Hoarded or
7 years,
something.
well, maybe more than that, because I had one put up where I used to live, and I know South Sioux had some. We only had one. And it filmed, you know, whoever's doing the graffiti or, you know, breaking into cars, that kind of thing. But I just think all three of these need to be addressed somehow, because it's just a shame, you know, when you drive through a town or a city and the first thing you see is the trash, and then you see the graffiti, then you see the panhandling. It's just a total turn off.
Is it Mr. Jones? Was it Mr. Jones? Is that what it was? Well, I just wanted to touch on at least a couple of those that you bring up. The litter is always going to be something that bothers me, right? Like I've talked about this for a long time. I will say Litter Dash is coming up, which gives me hope, because I do think that it's as snow melts, then you see trash and it becomes more visible. I think we all need to make an effort to clean up the community that we live in, whether it's in our neighborhood or, you know, gosh, my mom and I was just visiting her, and we went for a walk and we picked up trash along the way. You know, we
I do
all,
the same thing.
exactly. It's like we all can do our part to try to do that, and we need to encourage others to do more and take some ownership of the community and take pride in the community they live in.
Do we even have any litter signs? No litter signs? Do we even have any?
I'm not sure
In a
about
lot-
any
a lot of cities
specific
and
signs or
states, they
things
have
like that, but
$500 fines if you litter. I mean,
well,
that would stop a lot.
I'm not sure if we have an ordinance, do we?
Sure, we incorporate the state code relating to littering.
Yeah. So we incorporated this, huh? Yeah, signage, I'm not aware of any necessarily, but yeah, I mean, as far as the state code and enforcing of that, if you see anyone doing that, you certainly can. The other thing I wanted to touch on, though, is I have been in touch with the chief of police, because I have seen an increase in graffiti and it's been really bothering me. And I've talked to him about different areas that I see, you know, are getting tagged more and more, businesses, residences, you name it. Gosh, even utility boxes and things like that. And it does really bother me, and I do see it getting worse. And so it is something I was planning on bringing it up today during council concerns, actually. And it was more of a plea with citizens that if you see something, say something. If you know of people that are doing this, if you have any leads or know of areas and you can try to observe these individuals and let us know. It's tough for officers to be anywhere at all times, but I agree with you, and I would be open to any solutions. And like I said, I've had actually multiple conversations with the chief of police about it, so.
One thing that would help, the dollar store that's right in the area, the hotbed area, that graffiti all the time, they sell the paints that are used, the spray paints. And I went in there today, I said, do you have to sell those? They just got a few, and it's the colors they use. They go in there and buy them cheap, and then they, you know, spray everything up.
Some feedback too. I don't know if we can affect that commerce, you know, they have the ability to sell anything probably, but I think that's interesting feedback, yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
Thanks. Hi. You just got to state your name and then whatever you're here for.
Hi, my name is first and last name,
Yeah.
Anna Salem, and I'm just concerned about some vandalism on my street, and it has to do with Carlin Park. I've had, one of my cars was totaled, and then now I just bought a new car, and it was just egged. So the kids over there are vandalizing cars on our street.
What was the area you said?
It's 4449 Tyler, it's 45th and Tyler Street in Leeds. So I think we need police out there to patrol that area. There's kids, there's cars over there all the time. I live right on the corner.
Car was totaled at another,
in January. So I had to get it, and that was a hit and run.
oh, okay.
And it was someone in that park. I called the police. They didn't do anything about it. Then I called, well, I didn't call this time, but my car got egged Friday night. So I don't have a garage. I have to park on the street. So it's like, I don't know if it's because I live on the corner but it's people, it's kids in that park.
What park? I can't,
Carlin
Park's up
Park, where
there.
the pool used to be.
Yeah.
The
It's
Leeds
new,
pool.
or- I mean,
oh,
we put some trees in it a couple years
I
ago.
thought Carlin Park was the one up.
No, it's where the Leeds pool used to be.
Yeah,
Now it's
and-
basketball courts and
And
there's
we
like a
had
little
that tree
shelter house.
dedication. We planted the
No, I know
tree.
where the pool park was, but
Yeah,
And you
it's
live on that
Carlin
corner?
Street.
I do. I live on
And
the
the
corner
park's
of
right.
45th and Tyler Street.
Oh, okay. I can't imagine why the corner would make a difference, but that's,
Well, they have access coming in and out of there. There's still the parking lot.
Bob
I'll
talked
have
to
them from the police
yeah, we'll
department reach out.
get some extra attention.
Huh?
I'll have the police chief reach out to you tomorrow morning.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay, I'm gonna go to council concerns. Matthew?
Like Alex said, we've got Litter Dash coming up, and I just had the email open. I saw Ann sent it out earlier. It is Friday, April 18th, starting at, so Litter Dash is coming up. That's an important one to hit. The other thing is I've noticed an uptick in graffiti as well. I myself called one in just this past week. A couple days ago, somebody had spray painted something on the bridge. If you call the police non-emergency line, they'll ask you some questions. They'll ask you if individuals are there. They'll ask you for a rough estimate of where, like the address or the location for it. And then we have a paint crew that'll go up if it's something city-related that we can paint over. I'm not sure if they still have the kids. It used to be all of any kids that were involved in the legal system would go out and paint over private properties if you see specific areas that are being painted to.
It's on the website as well, I believe that.
Yep, yep. The other one was, you'd mentioned specifically about panhandling. If there's an intersection and you're worried about the safety of an individual, if they step off the curb, you can call officers regarding that, because that is illegal for them to step off the
Or
curb.
if
That's
the
a safety.
median is
that's
less than 6 feet.
Or if the median is less than 6 feet.
Yes, that is true, yes.
A little median.
Yep. Correct.
Yep.
And then the person that goes around and.
Sir, you have to go to the microphone if you're gonna, sorry.
Thank you. The person that goes around and takes care of the graffiti, he's overwhelmed.
Oh, absolutely.
He cannot keep up. Is there any way he can have any help or, reallocate other employees to help him or something? Because he just can't keep up, because I report it and it can go a whole year, nothing gets done, goes into the next year. But I don't know if anything can be done about that.
If there's like a specific area that's been hit and it has not been covered up after an amount of time, I would probably call us again.
Yeah, I
Have the
usually
correct
call twice,
location.
and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't.
That is everything for this week.
I'm just going to add a little bit to the litter dash. Alex mentioned that we're seeing more litter because the snow's melted. Don't wait for litter dash. I always carry a couple of shopping bags with me, the plastic throwaway. I'm going to throw away them anyway, and I'll stop. In fact, somebody that I know saw me doing it not too long ago, and they said, "What were you doing? The wind was blowing, so hard." And I said, I just had to stop and get out and pick up some trash against a fence. And so if everyone did that, when you see it, own it. That's what I always say, because it's all of ours trash. You may not have thrown it out there, but as soon as you lay eyes on it, it kind of becomes yours. So I'm not one to litter, but I'm one to pick it up. And I don't want us to wait until April, was it the 18th? for Litter Dash. I want us to get out. Don't wait for your work to do it. Don't wait for a crew to do it. Just grab a friend and go. Go walk your dog. And if you see it, pick it up. You can put trash in the poop bag just as much as you can put the poop in the poop bag when you're walking your dog. Just bring a bigger one along. So anyway, that's what I want to say. I want to say, please, please, let's clean up our city. That was a very good point made, and it's been on our mind.
Well, and it's probably something you could, that was it, right? It's something that you could stop down at the Expo Center and they have Litter Dash bags before Litter Dash kicks off. So you could probably stop and gather some of those materials if you wanted those gloves and things like that to assist.
You get the
with
big
that
orange
pickup.
bags anytime you want them. They're free.
Jeez. Yeah, so you brought up one I wanted to touch on, which was the graffiti, and just plead with citizens, if you see something or know of a neighborhood, if there's anything you can do to please bring attention to it or alert officers to that area or try to report individuals. It's much appreciated because, like I said, they can't be everywhere, but I hope that they can find these individuals, because I know some of the vandalism that has been caused, and it's a large expense, you know? I mean, it's not something that often can be fixed with just some paint, you know, by a landlord or by a property owner or by city staff. Sometimes gosh, I think about the splash pad over in Riverside, you know, and we're talking tens of thousands of dollars of damage just by presumably juveniles, you know, causing mischief. And it's just really unfortunate because they don't know how much that harms a community. The only other thing I wanted to address was, and I said this last week, I at least just want to address the individuals that came here representing the HRC, and that I appreciate very much your service, your willingness to be here, your willingness to advocate for those individuals, because as I said last week, I greatly value the service that's provided by those individuals, and I understand what they do and what they provide in our community. I think it is extremely unfortunate, similar to the situation with LSI. I find it serendipitous to have them here and have that conversation as well. It's one of those where the federal government cuts funding and these horrible things happen, or horrible decisions have to be made. You know, I understand the pain that an executive director probably had to make to go through those decisions. Similarly, the state of Iowa has redirected millions of dollars from our budgets, and I think that decisions have to be made, and we have to try to address them in the best way that we can. I have responded to emails, messages, phone calls, everything that I've received regarding the Human Rights Commission to try to explain a path forward, or if I think anything could be done, or why at least I made the decision that I did. I will have you know, I mean, I've even spoke with other members of the council individually to see if there's something that can be done. I unfortunately, you know, last week we have to, due to the truncated timeline, have to submit our budget and set that levy. And so it's not like we can go back and adjust these things to then make up that difference. There have been other things that were proposed. You know, we were adding a police officer, or we chose to keep a library open. Those were two decisions that we discussed, and a police officer was added, or that position was added, and we chose to save the library. If anyone on the council wants to revisit those decisions, in the majority that voted for those wants to revisit and reallocate those, but again, that would mean closing a library or cutting a police officer. Those are the decisions that ultimately we would have to make to be able to make that budget whole. And so I hope you all know that it's not a decision that we take lightly, or at least I took lightly. And it's unfortunate, but just wanted to acknowledge and thank you for being here and advocating for what you believe in. I too believe in that. That's all I have, Mayor.
Dan?
I have nothing further, Mayor. Thank you.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Moore,
Aye.
O'Kane,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Walter.
Aye. In full.